Okay, we're good. All right.
All
Hello,
right.
everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Project 24. I'm Adrian. I have a very special guest with me today. It's my cousin, my younger cousin, my baby
How's it going,
cousin.
everyone?
Hey, this is Anthony, guys. Anthony, thanks
What's
for
up?
joining us today, buddy.
No problem,
Uh,
bro. It's a pleasure.
yeah, man. How are you, man? Just how's it going? How's life? We haven't with COVID. We haven't been able to see each other.
Man,
Really.
it's just been, just school, work, go home, stay home.
Yeah.
Nothing much really to do, especially here in Woodbridge, where like literally everything happens. So
Yeah, I know. Woodbridge's always got stuff going on, and it's pretty lit and lively there, man. Yeah, I feel that too, bro. It's tough. I mean, like, there's no hockey. Like, I can't go to the rink and play hockey. I can't see my friends and stuff like that. It's tough. It's been
yeah,
hard. I've had a hard time replacing hockey with like something else. Had a hard time finding an alternative. Have you been doing any ODR outdoor rinks or?
not so much really, because
Oh, eh?
like my skates don't fit me, and then on top of that, I got hurt at work on my foot. So
Oh, yeah, I remember you
yeah,
telling me that. How is
yeah.
that, by the way?
It's a lot better now, but like
That's
before, oh, it was all purple. Like I could
oh,
not walk properly. It had like one blister on my big toe, so it was
ooh.
kind of it was annoying, but like it took 2 weeks to heal. I'm glad it healed, so
Ah,
it's
glad you're all right.
still a bit swollen, but like not too much. So
Yeah, for sure. No, I feel that, buddy. I told you about what happened with my ankle. I fell down the stairs like an idiot, and I rolled my ankle, and it looked like I had a big onion on my foot. So, but yeah,
it's
I'm getting better though with that. So, yeah, no, it's starting to feel better. It still has its days where it's kind of bad, but no, overall, it's just kicking around and
yeah.
trying to do what you can, right? Yeah, I mean, it's been boring right now, man. Just again, work. I mean, I go see my girlfriend's family. That's probably one of the few things that's keeping me going. And the podcast here, just that's it. It's just that that's just my life right now. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, buddy. Are you happy? You, I just like me. I would imagine you're probably really happy that sports are back, eh? Like just
Yeah, it
yeah.
takes a toll on your like everyday routines because like you're not used to it, right? It's kind of like you're just attached to it. You're just used to, sports, concerts, entertainment events every day, and then this COVID situation happens, and all of a sudden your life is changing. You're like, oh, well, I can't watch sports. Usually I'm used to seeing the Jays or the Leafs or the Raptors, so on, always on, right? But like
Mhm.
eventually when it came back and they started the playoffs and everything, I was like, okay, it's going to be a little different. There's no fans, you can't feel the actual feeling of the game where it's energetic and loud, and you have to kind of just deal with this. Okay, it's a game, but it's kind of dead in the arena, and you don't get the actual passion of the game, right? Usually, usually in the playoffs, especially, we expect that a lot.
Yeah, I find that too. Like even like a lot of the players I know all over the leagues like for the NBA I remember Siakam was open about his him not enjoying the bubble at all, like, and even Tuukka Rask in the NHL there for the Bruins, he was saying how it's hard to get into the games. And I can understand that. It's like, when you're as a professional athlete, you're used to just again, just going into an arena, hopping on the ice, going on the court, the fields, and you just have like 40,000 like screaming fans, and it just gets your like adrenaline going. It's like now it feels like you're just playing like beer league, like hockey
Yeah,
or baseball or whatever, right? And
exactly.
it,
Yeah.
it yeah, it's hard to get into the games for sure. I mean, like, um, yeah, like how do you feel about how do you feel about the Leafs so far, buddy? I've had my other buddy on the podcast the other day, and we were talking about the Leafs, and how do you feel about them?
Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with their play this season.
Yeah, me too.
They picked up Thornton, they picked up Simmons. I mean the goaltending situation I didn't really understand. They picked up Dell and he didn't really last that long on the team, and then they just got rid of him. So I other than that, I think they've found that toughness that they've been kind of messing around with, playing around with, with Clifford, that was okay for a certain period of time, and then it just in the playoffs came, it didn't work. But
Yeah.
I like Simmons. Simmons, I'm not just saying that because he's a Scarborough boy, he's from the Leafs, he's in his hometown team. I'm saying that just genuinely he's a perfect fit because I had a voice crack there for a second.
Yeah, that's okay.
he he's a perfect fit, and he brings that two-way play where you're not just getting toughness, but you have depth on your scoring, right? So you have an extra option there to work with, especially if you guys like Thornton, who already got injured, are
Yeah.
missing, right? So he's great all around tough scoring forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of counted out the Leafs earlier and before the season started because I was questioning their depth on their wing positions. But again, like Simmons has been a fantastic acquisition. He gets the odd tilt, he wins, he gets the boys going. And again, he scores goals. He does everything. And even when he was like with Philly, I used to love him when he was in. I still like him personally, but when he was in Philly, obviously when he was more in his prime, he was really fun to watch over there. He was doing some great things, and
Oh yeah,
yeah, no. I gotta say the
sure.
Leafs are playing good, man. And Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Nylander. Obviously they're carrying a lot of the load, which is expected of them, but. Yeah, no, they're playing good. I'm actually pretty impressed with their play right now. I didn't think they would be this good, but I mean, the North Division, I think Montreal, Toronto,
Montreal, yeah. They've
probably
been really good.
Calgary. Yeah,
Yeah.
Montreal's been good too.
I'm gonna give him credit.
Yes.
Montreal has been improving compared to what I've seen for the past 2 years, and
Oh
this is
yeah,
coming from me, a Leafs fan, right? And I have to be honest, they're doing good. And I talked to a couple. I have a friend who's from Montreal,
oh yeah,
and we always trash talk back and forth. Oh, Habs suck. Oh, Leafs
of
suck.
course,
Yeah, you're a typical Leafs fan. Yeah, I have to hear it all, right?
of
He has
course,
to
of
hear it
course.
all too. But at the end of the day, he was pretty honest. Leafs are doing pretty good. I'm impressed, and I'm pretty honest
Which they
with
are.
with the Habs too. They really improved their team. I'm surprised Bergevin, finally got his act together and put
Yeah,
together a good team. Because I thought, what, this guy's not going to survive in front office if they don't win too much. So
yeah, I
luckily
agree.
they're doing good. I'm sad to see Domi go. How do you feel about that?
You know, first off, I'll say about Bergevin, he has done a better job the last couple of years in terms of the drafting and building up the prospect pool. I'll say that. But yeah, I remember for a while I was pretty vocal about how much I didn't like him, and but Domi, you know what? You know, I used to go on like swearing rants. I don't know if you remember that when we were younger,
Oh
like
yeah, for
like
sure.
fucking Bergevin. Oh, I
Sure.
swore. But yeah, I used to be like, oh, he's an idiot, and I start going on about the Subban trade, which I don't. I think the Habs won that trade because Weber's become quite the alpha dog on defense there. But yeah, sorry. Anyways, about didn't mean I kind of go on a tangent there,
Yeah.
but Domi, yeah. I kind of saw it coming because like near the like last year, I don't know what happened. There was the 18-19 season where he had like 72 points and he broke out and he was playing like I was like, wow, like that was like you know what I mean. I thought he was like, this guy can be like top line left winger or centerman, playing the way he was. And last year, just I don't know what happened. Just things changed. I don't know. It was just really really weird. Um, and then obviously he was kind of falling out of favor, and Claude Julien was kind of losing faith and wasn't putting him in trust situations where you trust your top guys. He was kind of putting him more in penalty kill roles, fourth line minutes, and like in the playoffs last year.
Mhm.
I kind of knew it was like, the writing's kind of on the wall there. He's going to be an RFA, and obviously Bergevin's not going to want to pay him top dollar that he wants if he's playing fourth line minutes. So he kind of fell out of favor in Montreal. Uh, again, he's a small player, but again, he was fast, skilled, great hands. He could fight. He could do it all. But Josh Anderson's been really good for us. He scored a goal today. He's been on a roll. It was a bit of a gamble though with the 7 years. I think it was 7 years at 7 mil AAV, if I'm correct. It was a little bit at first. I was like, he is a good player. I remember him from Columbus in the past. Um, I became a fan of him actually when I saw him fight Zdeno Chara like 2.5 years ago, and I was the
Right.
first time I heard of this kid, and I was like, yeah, he's got balls actually. I was like, I like this kid. Fight challenged Zdeno Chara, and yeah, no, he's been a good acquisition for us. Again, power forward that can skate really well. Those are hard to come around. So no, it was definitely. I think Montreal probably got the better side of the trade right now. Josh
Yeah.
Anderson's playing better. I haven't heard much about Max Domi in Columbus. I know he's their top line center now because Dubois is gone. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, I
They
don't know.
need
I think
someone.
yeah, yeah. How'd you feel about that trade, that Dubois trade? We didn't
Honestly,
really
that
talk much about that.
that really, I don't know. I just woke up to it one morning. I'm like, what? That am I seeing this right? Am I high? Like, did I smoke the night before? Did I get drunk? Because I'm not seeing this right. And I see Line for Dubois and a pick, right?
Yeah.
So, or the other way around. I forgot how it went, but yeah,
Hmm.
I saw it and I go to my brother. I'm like, no, Line is on Columbus, and he's like, what? Really? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, he's like, oh, okay. Columbus won that. I'm like, yeah, for sure. Columbus won it 100%. I
You
think
could tell.
Columbus won that trade, and Dubois, unless Dubois all of a sudden just pulls out of himself an amazing season
Yeah, just pulls a
on
rabbit out
this
of his
team,
ass or
like
something.
it was just an awakening,
Hmm.
then that's gonna be kind of hard to determine. But so far, in my opinion, from what I've seen from both players currently, Line on Columbus, Columbus won.
Yeah, that's a good take. Yeah, Bliney's good. I think it's a bit of a tough environment for him. I think he'll do well there.
Oh yeah,
Um,
Torts.
it's because of Torts. Yeah,
Yeah.
Torts doesn't like the Liney's the kind of player he doesn't really skate much. He doesn't like to, he's not really much of a great back checker. Torts doesn't like players like that. But but I will say maybe he can turn him around because I mean there are players in the past that have gone from one system to another and they've turned their game around because I remember Kovalchuk when he was with the Thrashers, he was like literally one of the laziest back checkers ever, and he was always I remember like fuck like every year he was like a -10 or his plus minus rating was always in like the high negatives, and again his defensive game was just garbage, and he went to New Jersey, Devils there, and turned in more of a complete player. So I mean, hey, anything can happen. Um, I personally think though, I think Winnipeg won the trade in the sense of because they have great depth down the middle now. They have Mark Scheifele, Dubois now, and Paul Stastny as their three centers, and I think Brian
Okay.
Little. So yeah, I
That's
mean
yeah,
yeah, it's good. I mean the thing
cool
is
work. Yeah.
Columbus has a hole down the middle now because Dubois is gone, but I mean Line A is Line A, right? So
Mhm.
he's scored 40 to 50 goals and he's proven himself, right? So he
Yeah.
can do it. So I mean I think it does add needs to certain both teams in a way, I guess. Um, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. How do you feel about the Raptors so far? They've been like a little bit streaky lately,
Yeah.
eh?
I
Yeah,
mean, other than Van Fleet that one night with the 50 plus game, I think they're gonna soon go into rebuild mode.
yeah, I
And
see that direction coming
I
too.
actually am looking forward to that because there is a top prospects coming up soon. I don't know if you heard of Mikey Williams.
I've heard of them, yeah,
Yeah. So he's
yeah, yeah,
supposed to be a top prospect. Also, Bronny's supposed to come up, LeBron's
yeah.
son.
That's gonna be nice.
He played with Mikey Williams couple
Okay,
seasons
yeah,
growing
yeah,
up. Yeah, those are the only two prospects I know that are shining. But obviously Bronny, because he's LeBron's son, he's gonna get in that spotlight, right? But
right away, yeah.
Mikey Williams was just casted out of nowhere because he was playing with LeBron's son, and people just saw it. They're like, wait, we're not gonna focus on Bronny anymore. This kid's actually pretty good.
Hmm.
So we'll see. I think Mikey Williams is going to be a top prospect for sure. Is he going to be number one overall? We don't know. But yeah, I'm looking for, the future's bright for the Raptors in terms of rebuilding. I think they're going to go into a lot of good draft years.
Oh yeah, I agree. But yeah, I do agree with they should go into a rebuild soon because again, a lot of those pieces from the 20 excuse me from the 2019 championship team, a lot of it's gone. Um, I mean, they do have good depth on the bench, they do have some good players again. But I think personally, I think they should build around Van Vliet, Chris
Yeah,
Boucher. Who's that kid they drafted last year and he played great? Flynn, I think.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good
Malachi
apparently
Flynn.
too. Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, no, I think again, obviously with Brodny coming up, and
Hmm.
I have a feeling though, again, this call me a conspiracy theorist, but I have a feeling the NBA is gonna rig that draft and make sure that he goes to the Lakers because they want the whole thing with all
Yeah,
LeBron and his son playing
yeah.
on the same team. I have a feeling that's gonna happen,
Honestly,
but
even with the NHL, I think this year's draft with the NHL, uh, if we can get off topic a bit,
no, go ahead, buddy.
my
No, no,
bad.
that's okay.
The NHL, same situation. When I was watching the draft lottery for Lafreniere, me and my dad were watching it, and my dad brings up a good point. How did New York get that? And we're like,
I know
everyone thought they pulled out the ball, right, and put it back in. And I'm like,
that's what
New
it
York
looked
shouldn't
like.
have won that. I think that should have went to Detroit. I think
Yeah,
that was rigged. My dad's like, and I'm like,
it
maybe the
probably
way you
was.
see, yeah. And I'm like, how could he go to New York? Because New York's a big market, right, for hockey in the States.
Hmm.
Who knows?
Big
Maybe
market
not
cities,
Detroit, but
right?
even Detroit too. Detroit's another original six. Why wouldn't they go to Detroit, right? So that's where it kind of breaks between maybe it was rigged, but maybe it wasn't rigged because yeah, but yeah, the NBA too. The NBA, for sure will rig it. Um, and we'll have to see that it's been going weird lately.
Yeah, yeah, I found that to be weird because I remember when they were before the draft lottery was gonna happen, they were saying how something like a playoff team was gonna get the first like overall pick. I'm like, what the fuck? Like that's not,
That
you know what I
is,
mean?
yeah, that's
Like
weird.
the Rangers made the play-in series and they got the first overall. I personally, again, the Red Wings were like historically bad last year. They
Yeah.
should have
Oh yeah,
absolutely
for
gotten
sure.
it. I feel bad for the Wings. I remember seeing Steve Yzerman after that draft lottery. He just looked dead inside, like his soul just
Yeah.
left his body. I
I
felt bad for him.
I
But
I feel the same too if I were him. Honestly,
yeah,
I'd break a whole table if I were him. Break
I would have
my
thrown it.
I'd snap my laptop with my freaking knee.
I'd throw my laptop on my cell phone on the other side of the room. Never mind.
I'd be like KSI every time he's playing FIFA and he loses. Just
Yeah.
throw that freaking controller across the room.
Oh God, yeah. Dude, do you know how many controllers I broke in playing like NHL and FIFA back then?
Oh yeah,
Game cases,
I remember.
controllers.
Your garbage can would be filled with that crap, man.
Yeah, I know. And Julian used to get so mad at me too because one time I actually broke a controller. I cracked it, and he was like, he got so mad at me. He's like, I even wanted to pay for this, not you. And I was like, yeah, well, these games piss me off. And now I realize I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, dude.
Yeah.
What was funny? So I saw this story the other day. Sorry, it was the other day. Someone told me the story, but I used to work with. But you know how Jason Spezza scored the hat trick the other day for the Leafs, right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. That third goal was pretty fucking dope,
Oh yeah, it
man.
was
That
sweet.
was woo. It was beauty. Sure, he
Fun.
came driving on the off wing there, and oh, beauty. Um, but there's because I posted on my Instagram, I was like, oh, congrats, Spezza. You know, I like Spezza. You know, I have nothing. God, he's been in this league for years, and I used to love him when he was in Ottawa. But anyways, there's this girl I used to work with that told me this story. She went to high school with him, and
Oh
again, I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna name
yeah.
drop. But I have to share this story. It's so
Yeah.
good. But she told me that Spezza stole her brother's girlfriend. That is, she told me that.
Yo.
I was crying when she told me that. I was like, no way. That is,
Yo, he's a
that's not,
player, huh?
yeah, he's a player on and off the ice, bro.
Like finesse someone's girl.
Yeah,
Damn.
bro. I heard that guy used to party hard back then when he was with Ottawa. They used to have those partiers on the, it was, I think, from the rumors, from what it was Emery. It was Spats, Emery. McGrattan was another one too. Yeah, they were crazy back then. But yeah, no, that's made me laugh. So I'm not surprised, yo. That's how hockey players are. They're such savages, and like I've hung around a bunch of them in the past. Yeah, they can be quite degenerates at times. So
Oh yeah,
oh
I've had
yeah,
mine too, especially Woodbridge hockey players. Oh my goodness,
fuck, they're
man.
probably the worst.
Oh yeah. And then you got no. I'm not gonna. Don't get me wrong. There's some humble guys I know
Yeah, there's
that
some
played
beauties
hockey
out
up
there.
here,
Yeah.
but like most of them, like they, especially when in high school, I would play these guys in sports in high school, and they'd be doing like NHL moves, playing like they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. When we play basketball, they're playing. It's just that mentality, right? Like they're
Oh
playing
yeah,
like
it's
at the
that.
NBA Finals.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
that
Like for
compete level.
example, one time I was playing basketball, and there's this kid who played hockey, right? And he had
Hmm.
glasses on, right? So I'm running up with the ball on this guy, and all of a sudden he just goes right into me on my shoulder,
Ooh.
and I hit him by accident, and his glasses fall off, and
Oh
he's like to me,
no.
he's like Anthony, he's like this isn't baseball, this is basketball. I'm like to him, I'm like giving him the face like shut the fuck up, man. Like who are you, bro? Who are you? You look like Pepe Le Pew, bro. Like he had a little man bun on his head and he's wearing glasses. I'm like, you look stupid. Just don't even talk to me about I play baseball. We're playing basketball in gym, in grade 12 gym class. You're
It's not that
complaining about
serious.
it's not that serious. We're not in the
It's
NBA
not that
finals,
serious.
right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just that mentality is just
Mhm.
it pisses me off too.
Yeah, no, I mean I understand that, but also I think too because again when you're playing like rep sports, you're playing competitive sports, right? It's
Yeah,
your coaches always kind of teach you and put that fire up your ass to kind of like get it going. So it's just they're just naturally
you're
used
just
to
tough like
that.
that.
Like
Yeah.
yeah. That reminds me of a story actually. In grade 10. Do you remember the literacy test when you were in high school, right? You remember that?
OSSLT.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So shout out to Chris Bennett, by the way, if you're watching, bro. Fuck yeah, that kid's a sick hockey player. I'm just gonna say that. But anyways, this is about him. And it was a day of the literacy test, and we were in our gym what do you call it? The gymnasium there, right? And there was some floor hockey we were playing, and here I was. I'm just this kid. I'm like being a cocky fucking kid, dangling all this shit. And then Chris Bennett, if you're watching, buddy, hope you're doing well. But how you doing? But he I didn't know this, but he played AAA and fuck, this kid was just dangling me left and right. He just putting me in the like just dangling me in the
Yeah.
stars, man. I was like, I remember when he put it through my legs and I'm looking back and like he's already on the other side of the freaking thing and going to go score. I'm like, holy shit. And then I found out like 2-3 months later that he got drafted by the Saginaw Spirit in the OHL. And I was like, I can, you know what?
Yeah,
Of
I'm
course,
not
how
going
can I?
against that.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not surprised. I can say, hey, I got fucking dangled by an OHL kid. That's pretty cool. But yeah, no, Chris, man, if you're watching, man, hope you're doing well. I think he's out playing in New Brunswick right now or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, playing college, university hockey there. He's doing good. So, yeah, man. This, so yeah. Speaking of which, for baseball too, I wanted to touch that up too. How do you feel about the Jays off season? They've been very, very
Oh
busy,
yeah.
very
I'm
aggressive.
I'm
spending money.
I'm really excited to watch this team. They finally, with this new management, they finally actually, said, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. We got to do something, right? We got to build this team. You got the rookies. I think they were just waiting for the right time. Now I get it. You have Bo Bichette, you have Vladdy, you have Captain Biggio, you have Gurriel and Fernandez. I forgot
Yeah,
his name.
Tio Hernandez. Yeah, yeah.
Hernandez, yeah.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, they have all those guys now, and I think they're ready. Even their catcher, what's his
Danny
name?
Jansen. Yeah.
Danny Jansen. Yes, their
Alejandro
catcher is
Kirk
really good.
too.
McGuire too. McGuire is another. Like they're
Yeah.
they're pretty stacked
Oh,
on their
Reese
catching.
McGuire.
If you look, yeah.
Did you hear about what happened with him?
No, what happened?
He got caught.
Oh
This
yeah,
was
did he get?
before last year, but it was like December 2019. He got caught in a Dollar Tree fucking parking lot, like fucking jerking off in his car. Yeah, he got in trouble for it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Actually, that's. I mean, I've heard a lot happening to that in my school.
getting
So it's
caught in
it's
the oh
yeah, yeah,
man,
yeah.
that's
It's
I
brutal.
I mean personally I've never been caught before, but I can imagine that's an embarrassing fucking
Yeah,
feeling.
especially at that level, bro.
Yeah,
That level, you have everyone watching you.
I know.
All eyes
But
on you, man. It's
that's
it's
right.
just.
That's right, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
But but yeah, no, I agree though. They're making the right moves. For a while I was like you were saying about the Jays management, Shatkins, Ron Atkins, and Mark Shapiro. They're for a while I was not really a big fan of them because they were like they're very like kind of like serious, more corporate. They kind of have more of that corporate vibe. But you know what? Like they're numbers guys, but it's working. It's working. And I mean there was a couple of trades that they made that wasn't really they could have probably gotten more return for, more or less. But again, their drafting's been spectacular. They both of them they built the Cleveland Indians, the team that made to the World Series.
Yeah.
They both built that team. So um, yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed with how they've been. The last couple of seasons, they've been really adding the names. They've been saving money too, like the fact that they're keeping their budgeting properly so they can spend money long term. And obviously with Hyunjin Ryu, now George Springer, I was really happy about that one.
That one was good.
I think that's going to put them in front now. Um, because again, they have like you said, they have the core, they got the young kids in now, but now I think they're kind of more, they want to move up more, right? So they can try to
Yeah,
contend quicker, right? Instead of
for
waiting
sure.
for them to
Yeah.
develop, get the vets in, which has been helping, and that's the right thing to do. They're saving the rebuild's pretty much done. Like they have everything. They have all the assets, all the prospects. Yeah, but no, I'm looking forward to them this year. I might be a hot take, but I think they could even make the World Series this year if they really play their cards right. If it's full season and they decide to, if they play well, they stay consistent all year. It's hard to stay consistent in a full 180, 162 game season, but for the most part, they stay consistent. Then yeah, no, I think they'll go far. It's going to be between the Yankees and the Jays though in the AL East for
Not
sure.
even Red Sox, huh?
No, I think the Red Sox are.
Back
Although
to the.
actually, they did get Kike Hernandez from the Dodgers the other week. I saw
Oh, yeah.
he's good. But I
Well, they,
mean,
they have that money, right? So
oh yeah, they're
see,
always
teams
one of the
teams
higher
like the
priority.
Yankees and the Red Sox, they have that big money budget, so they're gonna always spend money. But like the Jays, it's different, right? Because like
That's right.
they're a lower budgeted team, but somehow they're making a World Series winning team against big money marketed teams like the
Hmm.
Red Sox and the Yankees, and I think this would be a great opportunity for them to show what they got, especially against those teams.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's pretty crazy though how um in past years they were having trouble attracting players to come to Toronto because again the field conditions, the Rogers Center with the fake turf, it's always been a problem for the players. A lot of the
Yeah.
players in the past have left because of, and a lot of the players you like. I understand why the Jays always have so many injuries
Mhm.
every year. It's because of the fake turf. It's awful. It's just literally just fake grass and it's just
Yeah.
all concrete under. It's awful. It's horrible. And it causes so many injuries, and it is a turnoff for a lot of players. I don't blame them for that. Um, yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm kind of again, I'm surprised even with like the way the economics are here, with like the taxes are higher and things like that. They're still able to attract these like big name players. But I mean, I think Toronto since 2015, although obviously the team they've made big moves on in the baseball world. Um, I think what's made them more respected around the league. I think, and
Mhm.
that's why players do still want to come here. And obviously, Rogers Center is a very very nice stadium. I love going to that ballpark. Obviously, it's very nice ballpark, and very loud all the time. And yeah, no, they're doing good things over there. I'm happy to see. I think this time around, I think they can do it. because they built properly. 2015 though, it was just like, a quick patch up work. Like we'll trade for like 2 or 3 players, give up all our assets, sell the farm, and try to win in like, a 2 year window, right? So that team wasn't built for long term success, but no, they're in a good
Yeah,
situation now. They're built for long
sure.
term success now, and yeah, stockpiling the farm, and it's good. It is good. It's good to see. Um, yeah, I was gonna ask you too, buddy. I saw you're telling me about your podcast. You and your buddies were doing there.
Yeah,
It's a caveman podcast.
man cave.
Man cave. Sorry, my apologies
Yeah,
there.
sorry, it's fine.
Uh, you guys doing that anytime soon, or you
I
just
mean,
kind of?
it's just kind of tough because like I got work at like 7 to 11:30 from Monday to Friday, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
at night. So it's kind of
Oh.
hard because that's when they're available, right? And my buddy who I do it with, he goes to York. I go to Guelph Humber, um, which is like a mix between Humber and University of Guelph.
Yep.
And my schedule surprisingly this semester is very low, very light because it's all design stuff for media. But
Nice.
he does a different course. I think he does like history or something. So my other
Okay.
buddy, he's busier, right? Because of his courses. So it's kind of hard for us to kind of find time.
Coordinate it. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we were gonna make a new one during the Christmas break, but it's just
Mhm.
I wasn't available because of work. And then the times when I was available and we were actually gonna do it, he's like, I don't want to do it. I'm like, okay, well,
Uh,
what are we gonna do, right?
yeah, for
So yeah,
sure. For sure. It's hard.
but
Everyone's got to be on board.
I'm thinking of doing my own thing maybe just, because it works. I could manage my time on my own time. I don't have to, coordinate with him all the time. I could just do it individually, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, we talk a lot about sports on that podcast and we
Yeah.
go over things and yeah, I was trying to evolve it to, talk about things other than sports like humor and entertainment and stuff. But
Everyday
yeah,
things. Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I try to do with this podcast too, because like I want to. When you're doing this too, one thing I'm learning is obviously you want to stick to. Sorry, my hand's just itchy. It's fucking cold. Um, but yeah, usually when you're doing these kind of, you're getting into content creating, especially podcasting, you kind of want you will obviously you want to stick to a certain amount of content. So obviously because you want to build your base, you want to build your audience, right? And your audience is expecting, a certain amount of
exactly.
content, but also like you do want to expand on other things. So again, you want to expand on other topics and areas so you can
Yeah,
gain a more of an audience, right? Because there's
exactly.
a lot of
Demographic.
example, yeah, demographics, and there's one, like, I mean, Impulsive is the one that I like to watch, and they actually have like a pretty wide range of content. Like they have all sorts of people on their show, and they talk about sports. They even talk about like humorous things, like their own stories.
Mhm.
They talk about business, politics, economics, things like that. So again, because they can get um like they can get new viewers, just and keep
Yeah,
on adding to it, right? And that's the one thing that's the one thing about it too. Like you just have to build your audience, and it takes time. I mean, it's not it's you can do it. I listened to some of your episodes there. They're pretty funny. You guys were pretty awesome there. So you guys got potential, or even if you
yeah,
want to go solo, you got potential. You can do it, buddy. You're good.
yeah.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
And I'm already in media, which is another thing. Like I could
There
use
you
that to
go.
my advantage. Yeah. So I kind of also base it off of that too, because like
Mhm.
I take pointers. Okay, so what did I learn in my media courses that kind of correlate with podcasting, right? Because some of them are just like journalism, writing stuff. I don't need to worry about that because I'm not writing anything, right? I'm
Mhm.
more speaking vocally, speaking live, broadcasting, right? So I'm just trying to find, what works. I follow a certain guidelines that I've been taught in media. Like there's this one called the print theory, which is like proximity, rareness, importance, newness, and tension. So
Mhm.
basically, proximity, like the location, right? We live in Canada. We live in Toronto. What's
Mhm.
the biggest sport we're going to talk about, right? Hockey, maybe basketball, maybe baseball, and then rareness. You know, how rare did something happen? Like the Maguire story. Like it's pretty rare that someone's gonna be rubbing a rocket out in a parking lot.
I haven't heard that one before. That was yeah. Someone's just gonna be cranking it in the
Yeah,
fucking Dollar
and then
Tree out of all things, Dollar Tree.
yeah.
Fuck, if it was at least like if it was like Sport Check or like Canadian Tire or Walmart, it's a little bit different. But Dollar Tree, it's like so
Yeah.
out of the
And like
ordinary.
and then you got newness. Like you got okay, Jerry Springer or sorry, George Springer, uh the Leafs winning, I don't know, there's one I was gonna say as an example. Oh, Line getting traded, that's new, right?
Hmm.
No one's ever heard that. Or what's considered new? Like was it updated in a minute or was it updated 2 weeks ago? Like what's the definition of new? And then lastly, tension. Like you want to find something conflicting that gets people's attention, right?
Yeah, and creates
People like
conversation.
people like tension because yeah, exactly. It creates dialogue, creates
That's
conversation.
right.
You want to get them talking. Sometimes what I find with media today is that it may drive the wrong tension.
Oh yeah.
Um and it causes people to hate other people because they
Yeah,
don't
we
get the
have a
full
problem.
facts. What I'm proud to say is that in Canada, we have more of a fairer media. Maybe I'm not saying 100% fair because we have our flaws too. But compared
Of course, everybody
to
does,
the
right?
States and Europe and China
God.
and all those other countries, especially
Oh,
China, yeah,
yeah. Oh God.
we have a pretty fair and a pretty reasonable media system throughout, and I
Yeah.
think it's what makes us uh reliable. We're more reliable. Like if
Mhm.
I watch my parents watch CNN all the time. I can't stand it. And
Yeah.
I'm usually I don't like, talking about politics too
That's
much
okay.
because like
No,
it's
it's fine.
conflicting, but like I'm usually on like I
You're
on
more
the
left leaning. That's okay.
yeah, more left
Yeah,
leaning,
you can
right?
say that. That's okay.
And but they're more to left, and I look at Fox, and Fox is too right, right?
Yeah.
So it's this like they're
Clash.
drawing a line, right,
Oh
between
yeah.
two people, and I think that's what's dividing people in
Absolutely, buddy.
terms
You're
of
so right.
their ideology. And
Hmm.
that's another thing, ideology. What I'm learning right now also subculture, which is basically like you have anything that goes against mainstream culture, right? Like for
Yes.
example, hip hop. Hip hop goes against mainstream culture because they talk about police brutality and um, the low income areas, support
Yes.
towards low income areas and higher income areas, and how police, again, police brutality, police always come back and they cause problems, right? So
Yeah.
like that subculture is making us aware that our ideology is all coming from the mainstream news, right? And
Yes. It
that's
is.
what's dividing us in terms of because the news is telling us one thing, but then if we take the time to look online, find the right resources, because we could branch off from mainstream stuff, but we're gonna fall into the wrong stuff sometimes. We don't want to do that. So
Yep.
yeah,
So right.
as long as we find the right stuff, the more reliable stuff, and there are reliable, independent, news-based stuff that I've learned.
Uh-huh.
Al Jazeera is an example. They're a very good news source for everything,
Al
sports,
Jazeera. Yeah.
entertainment. Yeah, they're
Okay.
based
Yeah,
in
take a look
Dubai,
at that.
but the reason why no one really talks about them is because the American government, I think, or media stations, what I learned is that they're actually persecuted a bunch of times because they're in Middle
Wow.
East. They're based in the
Oh,
Middle
they're in the Middle
East,
East.
so they
Okay.
think. So the American media tries to portray them as they're a threat to the United States because they come from Middle East. They could be spreading propaganda, but they're not. They're actually
Mhm.
neutral. So I think if people point of my explanation is that if people find the reliable stuff, they'll most likely get the right stuff, and
Mhm.
that'll if these small independent news stations or media outlets got their credibility up, and
Yeah,
we're spotted
that's the
more.
big problem.
I feel like we'd have a less divided world, and I was gonna
Yeah,
say nation, but
especially
world. in
Yeah,
general too.
I'd say yes. You're so right. You're making some very good points there. That's like you're saying about the United States, how their media system. It's just again, CNN is like very like left leaning, and Fox is very right leaning, and then it's just it causes that clash where they just cause hate on so many sides. Like I used to, like I'm more right leaning.
Yeah,
Personally, like I don't like Fox News anymore because it just says negative things about the opposition. Like,
exactly.
and then
Yeah,
I don't watch CNN because it says negative things about that
yeah.
opposition, right?
I agree
It's
with that.
just
I
I'd
see that
rather
all the
have
time. Yeah,
something in the middle that tells the right, no narratives, just say the right thing. That's why um, I've been kind of like one of my friends told me about this YouTube channel. These two guys, they're pretty controversial, but they're very like they're called, it's Abba and Preach.
okay.
They're like, they talk about like world issues, but he says they're very like non-biased, like no
Mhm.
political side, just say
Yeah,
it as it is. And I watched a few of the videos, and yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like, I want more. I don't want the bias. Like, I don't want like the news telling me things that I want to hear, or what
yeah. Oh yeah,
the whole
exactly.
the whole bipartisanship thing to hyper partisanship, which is where you know both. And that's the problem too. The hyper partisanship is where both sides are so clinged to like their party or their
Yeah,
their views. Like personally for me, like they're like, again, I'm more right leaning conservative, but like there are things on the left that we do need as well. Like, and
mhm,
then we do need a bit of both. Like, don't get
mhm,
me wrong.
yeah,
Like, and so like that's the thing. Like, and then you get the Congress in the US, they just hate each other. Like they just have no
yeah.
respect for each other. So that is a huge issue too.
Mhm.
And it just goes down to the people, and it's like almost like a basketball game, where again the left, like you get the Democrats and the Republicans, they just keep on dunking on each other, keep on postering on each
Mhm.
other, but they're not helping the American people. They're more helping themselves
Yeah,
and more for their careers, but their hate for each other is actually hurting the people that they work for. Like
exactly.
they're public servants, right?
Mhm.
That's the problem. Like I gotta say too, like it's very sad to like it's good that you're obviously, I can tell you're very good with your politics. You're not gonna anyone that disagrees with you, you're gonna like start screaming
Yeah.
like
I'm
racism or
I'm more open-minded when it comes
that's
to people's
yeah.
opinions. I love hearing people's opinions. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I talked about when I talked about the George Floyd incident with my friends. We were discussing it, and one of my friends, he does a lot of research on things, and
Hmm.
he's like, "Oh, George Floyd went to jail a couple years ago for pointing a gun at a pregnant lady." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, okay, he did that, but I also heard, you know, that he took the time in jail to, you know, recover from what he did, go through rehab, fix himself, and he came out
Hmm.
a better person. They admitted after he came out a better person,
Yeah.
and he said, "I feel better now. I'm happy now." He had a family. He had a
Yeah, he has
daughter.
kids. Yeah.
He was happy. Sure,
Hmm.
he did something wrong when he went into that convenience store. Apparently, he had the
He
counterfeit,
forged a $20
the count.
bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
to get killed over that
Yeah, I
was
know.
not right. The cop, I did not like what the cop
Yeah.
did in that
He
situation. It
he
was
had
just
no reason
no
putting
right to
his
do
neck
that.
on.
No, he wasn't even resisting. So when you see an incident like that, and then someone saying, "Oh, well, I hate him still because I don't support him the whole time because he did this to a pregnant lady." Okay, again, like
It's not right, but that was
it's
in the
not
past.
right. It's in the past. All you could do is move forward, right? You fix yourself, you better yourself.
Exactly.
You know, correction. As a Catholic, I'm taught people get a second chance. You're forgiven.
Yeah,
You
of
can
course.
always move better. Be better the next day.
Of
If
course.
you still wake up the next morning, you can still be better the next day. That's how I look at
Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing too, like again, you were saying about that whole incident, they released the body cam footage
it. Yeah.
apparently like months after
Hmm.
the whole incident. And apparently, like again, I saw in the body cam footage, they did try to put him in the car, and he was actually like not going in the car and pushing out. And he
Yeah.
said politely, like, I don't feel safe going in the car. I have
Yeah.
COVID or something. Can I go on the floor? And the cop said, okay. But at the same time, though,
Hmm.
doesn't matter what it is. He still had the I think it was Derek Chauvin was his name. He had
Yeah.
absolutely no right putting
Yeah.
like
And
that's abuse of power. And like again,
and
I
yeah.
understand why people were outraged by that. You know?
And yeah, I even looked up the rules for the cops and what other cops said about his situation, and they said that was excessive use of force. That
Absolutely.
should
Yeah.
have not been. And these are cops from different states. Sure, they have different laws. It was this the cop that I found this out from was from Florida, but it apparently they're similar to the Minnesotas.
Okay.
So
Similar laws.
he talked about it and he's like he wasn't supposed to put his leg on his neck. He
Yeah.
was actually supposed to put it right up like on the area connecting your neck to your back, like your
Kind of
upper
like your
back. Yeah.
spine,
Because
upper back.
then
Yeah.
he can't get up, right? He can't move
Right.
up
Right.
still, right? But he
Right.
decided, I'm gonna put my knee on his neck, which really you can't do that again
No.
because like your jugular system and your neck have a lot of arteries and veins that blood runs to your brain with. And if that happens, and they're cut off, which he was able to do. He had, I think, when I saw it, he had it on the side of his neck, right where his artery
Yeah. It
was.
was right
He
there.
can't. He's not gonna breathe. He's not gonna breathe.
Can't.
No air, no blood or air is going to his brain because
It's a
he
very also a very
yeah
vulnerable spot too,
yeah
right? Yeah, like you said, the back of the neck where there's no breathing, right? Obviously, like the sides and your front.
yeah
But yeah, no, like either way, like that was, I know, like obviously, like he broke the law, but it was a non-violent crime.
yeah. All you had
Obviously, it
to
was
do
still very disturbing, like very sad to see like him just on the floor, and he's like almost like gasping for air, saying like I can't breathe, and people are like
yeah
filming it, and they're like, "What are you doing? Like, get off of him, get off of him! Like he can't
yeah.
breathe, right?" And like, yeah, it was again very disturbing. It was a
I
very hard time for
I
humanity.
I also feel bad for the cop that was trying to help a bit because he was a rookie cop. And apparently
Yeah,
there's videos of him being bothered at the grocery store. He was trying to buy
yes,
some food
I
while
saw that.
before he I think he was on house arrest. He was trying to buy food and there's this lady just harassing him and I'm thinking like what are people doing? Like just leave the guy alone, okay?
Yeah.
He tried he didn't do anything, okay, but he was a rookie at the end of the day too also, right?
Yeah, he just
He
started
could
that
have
week.
stepped in, sure. He didn't step in, but he's nervous. He's It's his first day. He's a rookie. He's trying to look good to the other cops, right? He's
Yeah.
trying to show. He's trying to listen to his authority, his higher
Yes.
authority, which is the cop that killed Derek Chauvin, which killed George Floyd. He's
Yes.
trying to obey him, but
Mhm.
you know at the end of the day, you can't be bothering him
Yeah.
especially after what just happened. Okay,
Yeah.
that's especially during COVID, when you're isolated from everyone, and then he has to live with this. He has to live with that in his head. Oh, I could have stopped this, and then you're just reminding him of it.
Yeah.
Like mental
It's
health
horrible.
is a serious issue right now with COVID, and I feel like that could have drove him to PTSD. Honestly, it could have.
It probably has already.
Yeah, if not already.
If not already. Another thing I was because you were saying like yes, he was a rookie cop. I think he just started the
Yeah,
job that week.
yeah,
Um, that's the thing. As a rookie cop, again, I think also you can tell he felt awful in that video. I saw that video too, by the way. He just you could just see like he just was just so distraught, and I did feel bad for him, but at the same time too, he was in a hard position because
yeah.
if I'm not correct, about law enforcement again, because a veteran cop, you can't overstep a veteran cop, right? Like it's
Hmm.
just like an
Hmm.
unwritten rule. It's kind of
Hmm.
like a code, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, personally, again, he was in a hard spot because he just started, and obviously Derek Chauvin was a veteran cop, and like yeah, like what do you do in that situation? Are you going to overstep on the guy with the seniority, possibly getting shit? Like, well, that situation, it's hard. Like, but he was in a hard spot. Basically, he was in a really hard spot, and um, one thing too, like with with that whole situation, people are obviously getting mad at the government every time there's a police brutality case. It's
They call it government. Yeah.
the government. But the thing is, yes, obviously these are government employees, but it's the police union that usually lets them off scot free. So go after
Yeah.
them, right? Like that's where you have to
Yeah.
kind of focus your activism on. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And another
Yeah.
thing is, when they do that, they're saying, "Oh, defund the police, do this." Do that." Okay, you
It's
can't
not good.
defund the police. Like, come on.
No, they're
Like,
already
like,
underfunded.
like, you need the police
You do
because at the end of the day, you need people to set
protect
those
others.
guidelines in, protect us. right? I saw in Minnesota, I don't know if this was real or not. I saw a video of a shootout happening in Minnesota in an area where they defunded the police. A shootout
Oh yeah,
already
like a
broke out.
legit like
Yeah.
fuck.
And I'm like, this is why you don't defund the police. You don't.
No, you can't.
Because now
People,
you're
more
letting
people are gonna
these
die.
now you're letting crimes go on like it's nothing, right? What are these community watch people gonna do? Take their tasers and go tase the people with a loaded gun? A
Loaded
loaded gun.
handgun. Yeah,
I could just go to you like this, bam, shoot
and that's
you,
it.
you're done. You're done.
I've seen videos of it too. In New York City, they defunded the police already,
That's
and
the
I saw
worst.
security footage of a guy just going up to a random person, just shooting him right there on site, and that's it. And nobody does anything because there's no police, right?
Mhm.
That's the thing. Like, I mean, I thought about this the other day. Again, the police are already underfunded as it is, and they're already overworked, especially in Peel where I am in Brampton. Like, they're always so busy. Like, it's ridiculous. They don't have enough cops, and they want to defund that. Like,
Yeah.
think about it too. Police officers, like, when you call 911, like they come like that. When you order food off Uber Eats, it takes a half hour, right? Again, you call the police and you order food. Guess who's gonna come first? The police, right?
Yeah.
So that's a social program that we do need. Personally, like, we really, again, because yes, there are flaws in the system, especially in the United States. I think they
Mhm.
need to put more money and training
Yeah,
into
for
it. And
sure.
if anything, here it's a little better. Obviously, they have it available in post-secondary education. There's a police foundations course you can take, law enforcement. But yeah, no, I'm all for that, to put more, to fix the system. That's how you fix things in the future, to make things better, is you put more funding into it to prevent those hiccups or
Yeah.
bad, like, PR, but bad decisions or bad
Yeah.
mistakes that were made by the law enforcement. But most, again, I've talked to many cops. I mean, I've seen dickhead cops do, racist ones too, with my own eyes. A bunch of friends and I, we went up to Montreal like 5 years ago to watch the Jays and Pirates. They were playing at Exhibition Stadium, and we got pulled over on the highway, and there was three, like, me and my two other friends that were white, and then I had my one friend in the back with me that was Filipino, and he gave him like a dirty look. So, like, when people say, like, about the racist cops thing, like, yes, it does exist. I'm not going to deny it. I've seen it with my own eyes. He gave him like a dirty look. He was fine with us, and he looked in the back and saw him because he wasn't white, this cop, and he gave him like this weird look. And I was like, anyone see that? I was like, after we drove away, I'm
That
like, dude,
was
did you? I was like, I was like, bro, did you see how he looked at you? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, that's not really good. Like, that's kind of
yeah,
fucked up,
that is fucked. And I think
Yeah,
I think what they should be doing, you want to save money through police force, cut off, do your background checks on the bad apples, weed out the bad
absolutely.
apples.
Yeah,
And my dad tells
exactly.
me
I'm
this all
all
the time,
for
and
it.
I think he makes a good point here. Weed out the bad ones, you save money,
Yeah,
your budget is fine because you're taking out those bad ones off the payroll.
he's
Get the good
absolutely
ones
right.
in.
Yeah,
Get the good cops in, do your background checks you need, and you'll be fine most of the time. Sure, maybe there's gonna be
yeah.
that one odd bad
Like the
one.
one that slips
Like
out of
nothing's
the yeah.
perfect, right? But if you have more good apples than bad apples, you'll totally be fine.
Absolutely. Your dad's absolutely right about that. I'm all for the strict background checks, like family background checks, social media background checks. Like, I'm all for that. Like, you want to have, like, just like any job, they do background checks on your everything, right? It's just, you want the most qualified people for the jobs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's yeah, no, it's, again, the people that say to defund the police thing, that's a very dangerous thing to say. They don't realize, though, that they're putting more people's lives in danger by thinking that way. Like, more people are gonna die if you do that. Um, Even, I think, Calgary, I remember seeing on Twitter like a couple months ago, like, the Calgary city, like, the government, the municipal government voted to defund the police. Like, they got a majority vote. I was like, oh my
That's
god, like,
fucked.
that is scary.
That is
And
scary.
even John Tory was talking about something like cutting their police force funding like 25%. I'm like, 25%?
That's not good.
That's a lot. And Toronto has so much gun violence as it is.
Yeah, with all these
Like, it's
gangs,
the
bro.
worst. Yeah, man. Like, it's, yeah, scary
Tough.
times,
It's
buddy.
tough.
Yeah. Well, I think I gotta head out soon, buddy. So that'll
Yeah.
wrap it up there, guys.
Mhm.
Anthony, again, thanks for joining us, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
Again,
You're always welcome to
pleasure.
come back. Good
Yeah.
conversations. You're a very bright young man. You've turned into.
Thank
You're
you.
continuing. No problem. So, anyways, guys, give us a like and subscribe on our channel. This is Project 24, and we are signing off.